I will read a quote from your book.
Oh, come on.
No, it's an amazing book. You should all read it. But it said there, I don't know, in one of the, I think I read it in the Washington Post, keep a strict, predictable schedule, 365 days a year, that has you eating, sleeping, and exercising about the same time, day in and day out. This is really what you recommend to us?
Yes. I mean, look at the data, right? So if you have your lunch today at noon and tomorrow at 2 o'clock, for 2 hours, stress hormones go up. You gain weight because your body's conserving energy. You don't think as well. You don't exercise as well. Get a load of this. 600 parents, they said, put your kids to bed at one time, same time every night, get up in 10 and a half hours later. 600 parents, they said, put your kids to bed whenever they want, wake them up in 10 and a half hours. 31% improvement in cognition with the regularity. That's good to great. We want our kids to become the next entrepreneurs, to change the world. They need to be great.
So entrepreneurs should do the same thing every day, the same schedule?
Whether it be entrepreneurs, people who want to do social change, people who want to go into politics, medicine, you name it, regularity improves function. And regularity improves health.
And how many leaders, politicians, CEOs, and so on that you meet have this kind of schedule?
You have a president in this country who in 578 weeks will turn 100.
Yes, that's true.
And so you look at what he does, regularity is a component of it. The thing that's the similarity in people who are 90 years old and CEO is regularity and schedule. It works.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the recommendations that you have. I understand that the Chinese government took 5 rules out of your book, and now they're going, like Chinese do, they're going to make it into laws of the country.
Yeah. It's great. I mean, the Chinese look at something and they just say, let's do it, and it's done. Unfortunately, our government, your government, we talk a lot, and we talk a lot, and we talk a lot. But yeah, the Chinese government started to look at the data. Get a load of this. If you take a baby aspirin a day, 81 milligrams, and everybody over 40 in our country, if we did it, we would save $96 billion a year. Why? Because a baby aspirin a day reduces the death rate of cancer by 36%, delays heart disease by years. That has an ROI to a government and a country. Healthcare in the United States is 17% of GDP. Israel, it's 8.1% of GDP. China, it's 3.8% of GDP. If they hit 5%, they're in trouble.
How many people out there are taking aspirin every day? Please raise your hands. So the rest of you, David will give you the daily dose after our session. Now let's talk about how many people here take a daily dose of Lipitor, of statins? David, they're not reading your books, and most of the people here are above 30 years old.
Yeah, but your government, you're leading a country that healthcare and food are over 25% of the economy, like it here is Israel, and you say, why is this optional? If statins will delay cardiovascular disease, stroke by over a decade, reduce cancer, and so will aspirins, why are they optional? Israel's an aging population. The United States healthcare is growing on a yearly basis. We have to implement these things. Michael Dell, the CEO of Dell Computer, looks at his 105,000 employees and say, hey, you're welcome to smoke in my company, but you're going to pay 2.5 times the health insurance costs. You're welcome to be overweight, but you're going to pay a higher health insurance premium. We need to bring in responsibility to healthcare. We're going to be in trouble.
But I always say to myself, like other people, it's all in the genes, so why bother?
Well, if you wear jeans or you wear dress pants, it's going to be the same health outcome. No.
The genes, not in the genes.
Oh, those genes. Every disease we're talking about are the common diseases, part environment, part genetics. You can control your environment. You blame your parents for the genes, but that's a percentage of it. Think of it this way. You're in front of 2 Chinese restaurants and you look at the ingredient list. They're exactly the same. You taste the food. One could be great and one could be poor. Well, your genetics are your ingredient list. What's going on in the rest of your body, we don't have the technology yet to measure most of that. So it's not deterministic. It's not going to happen. You can make an impact.
But you know why I'm thinking about genes? Because I'm looking at your hair and thinking about my hair.
It makes me look wise.
Do you have anything in that book in that respect?
No, but for the first time ever, we've identified what is the gene that's going to control hair growth. So over the next years, there will be products out there, not the most important thing in health, by the way, but there will be things out here that can change what you and I are going through.
Okay, so let's talk about the new model for healthcare that you want to present.
So I want a new model for health. I want to cause a revolution. I want people to stand up. And just like social media overthrew governments, as you talked about in the Arab world, I want social media to apply to health. I want to start to boycott stores that sell tobacco. In California, the state where I'm from, where I live now, 26% of healthcare costs are related to tobacco. And we have to start to end these ailments. I walk through the streets of Israel, I could barely breathe. Yet we allow that to happen. And we allow people to go to whether it be Kupat Cholim here or whether it be Medicare in the United States, and we pay for their ailments that they're causing by using these products. We have to build in responsibility to healthcare. It is your right to smoke, but it is not the right of society to pay for the ailments that are associated with that. We have to start to bring in education. You know, I was debating one of the CEOs of the tobacco company, and he looked at me and goes, Agus, you say that, but you don't get business. And I go, are you serious? When airbags first came out in this country, in our country, car companies didn't debate it. They didn't say, listen, it's going to raise the cost of cars. They say, listen, there's a problem. People die in car crashes. We have to prevent that. We're going to raise the price of cars to put airbags in there. And they did that. Tobacco companies have to realize what's happening now. And I think they do. But obviously, it's a hell of a business, but society is paying the price. If someone graduates from college in the United States now and wants to buy a General Motors car, $2,200 of the price of the car is healthcare costs. And we have to change that. We have to bring an education to the kids. Kids are going to change it. You and I, we're past our prime. But the next generation of teenagers are going to be the answer for most of the healthcare problems we're dealing with.
Okay, now, do you have any position, you know, in Israel there is a huge debate today about, in the last 10 years, we've privatized some of the healthcare system, and now people are thinking maybe we went to the wrong way, and the Ministry of Finance is thinking about pulling back, and we always give the example of the US healthcare system as not a model that we should follow. What do you think?
I agree. Yes, I mean, start to look at the whole motivation system in healthcare for physicians, and I'm guilty as anybody else, I mean, in full disclosure, is that we look and we get paid to treat. We get paid to give drugs. We get paid to do procedures. We don't get paid or incentivized for prevention, and that needs to change. We need to start to bring a culture of prevention. If we want to live until our 90s and be like President Perez, which I think we all can, we have to start to prevent disease. The United States, the motivation is for treatment. If you do a procedure, you get paid thousands of dollars. If you prevent a disease, there's no motivation there as a physician. And I'm not saying our motivation system internally is off, but as a society, we have to change that. And so when you look at healthcare, whether it be in Israel, where you've got a remarkable system, because there's one payer system in general that's collecting data, but you're not learning from that data. You know, when you search on Google, your search today is better than your search yesterday. It's iterative. It looks at where you search and makes it better. My system, when I treat a patient, it's the same as it was years ago. I want to learn from every encounter. I want to do things better. At the same time, medical research is somewhat broken. The death rate in cancer over the last 50 years hasn't really changed. So we're doing something wrong here. We started to get reductionist, right? We looked at every little gene, every little purpose, and we started to try to say, I want to understand everything. But our job is to control it, not necessarily to understand it. You look at that weather person. He or she will go out there, look at the shape of the clouds, the wind speed, the temperature, and they can predict what's going to happen, and they're damn good. I want doctors to be more like weather people, to take in these data elements that we're all talking about and actually learn from them and get better. You've got a system here in Israel which is the perfect system to start to take data in, learn from it, and change healthcare, not just here, but the world over from learning. Yet none of us are doing it.
And as individual, do you really think we should know so much about our body and about our illnesses and so on? Should we dwell on it and explore about it? We're all going to be very much depressed, aren't we?
Oh, come on, you're not going to be depressed, you're going to be empowered. You're going to be empowered to prevent things. I wrote this book that you alluded to, and in January, we went on Nightline, one of the talk shows in the United States. And the Nightline reporter was 42 years old. The anchor of Nightline came into my office. We sequenced his DNA live on TV and showed that this 42-year-old with 3 young kids had a very high likelihood of heart disease at some point in his lifetime. So based on that, live on TV, we did a heart scan and showed he had a 70% blockage of the artery going into his heart. So he would have had a heart attack, whether that be 1, 2, or 3 years out, he would have had a heart attack. But instead, he's on a prevention mode. We're changing his behavior. We're putting him on some drugs that will prevent this disease that may have killed him. And that's the key. Identify, prevent. We're not good at treating disease, but we're damn good at preventing things if we have the opportunity.
Looking at the evolution of medicine and medical devices and medical models, what do you think is happening to the divide between the treatment that the affluent and the rich population gets and the poor one? Is it decreasing or increasing?
It's a very good question. It really is country dependent. So in the United States, it's not a dramatic difference between the indigent and between the affluent. The middle are the ones who are having difficulty because they're not supported by the state when they're under 65, whereas over 65, everybody's supported by the state. But again, prevention is cheap and easy. Remember, for $3.10 a year, you can decrease your rate of death of cancer by 36% and heart disease by about 20%. And that's by taking a baby aspirin. For $9 for a 90-day supply of a statin, you can delay heart attack and stroke by over a decade. So these are not expensive. These are within the afford of everybody in most countries, yet we're not doing it. We instead say, listen, wait till you have a heart attack where it's going to cost society $40,000. Wait till you have colon cancer where it will cost $132,000 instead of pushing on the prevention. And I don't get it.
So an Israeli billionaire came up with this crazy idea a few years back to bring in MRI machines, very sophisticated ones, small ones, and to scan the entire population of Israel for small things that can determine what's going to happen if you're going to have cancer in the future. And he met with some economists in the Ministry of Finance. And they told him, are you crazy? Do you know the economic consequences of having so many people alive? Do you understand? We cannot deal with it. If life expectancy goes to 90, we are kaput. The society cannot handle it.
Listen, I said the same thing at the World Economic Forum, and they said, yes, pensions were described so that people die in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. But we've got climate change, we've got evolving population wars and other things that will take care of what healthcare gains we get. No, I mean, I wish we have those kind of problems. We're going to get productivity from people in their 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th decade, and we're going to change things around. That's how we're going to change the economy and the economic situation, not give up on them.
Doctor, thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.